So I think we're ready and we're live now. Welcome everybody. I'm Laurence Fabre, the Executive Director of the French-American Chamber of Commerce of San Francisco. So each Friday, we invite a guest, one of our members, to share its stories and to tell a little bit more about his company and his industries. So today, I'm very glad to welcome François Margot, who is Sales Director, North America at DIAM Bouchage. So we're talking about the wine industry. This is why I have a bottle of wine behind me. Hello, François. How are you?
Hi, Laurence. Hello. I'm good. Thanks. Really happy to be with you today.
Very happy to have you too. So we're going to start right away with questions, François. Can you tell us first a little bit more about you before telling us about DIAM Bouchage and your company? Who are you? What is your career? And why did you choose the wine industry? And why the US? A little bit everything.
A little bit of everything. Okay. So, François Margot, I was born in the region of Tours, France, but I've lived most of my life and career in Alsace. This little part of France, which is on the other side of the Vosges Mountains on the northeast, doing some really great white wines, low barrel, high acidity, high freshness. So I spent the first part of my career working in Alsatian wineries. And 18 years ago, somebody knocked at my door and say, "Hey, there is this great idea of a new cork here. Would you join the adventure?" And so I said, "Yeah, why not?" That was the third company for me, the third experience, and I joined DIAM in 2003. First, taking care of the northern country. You know that in Alsace we're close to Germany, so I had the chance of speaking German, and that's how I started with DIAM. Taking care of German-speaking countries, and then I expanded my zone and finished with the whole Europe, China, Japan, and then finally here in the US.
Wow!
So I came in the US 8 years ago now to take care of the North American market and to support the development of DIAM, and it's been a great journey, I must say.
Yeah, so it's a good transition. So tell us more about DIAM Bouchage. So what do you do exactly? Because, I mean, some people are familiar with the wine industry, but some are not. So what do you do exactly? Who are your clients? How many employees also do you have in the US? How do you work with France? Also a lot of questions, sorry. But
yeah, that's a lot of questions in one.
Yeah. Well, we can start by what is DIAM Bouchage first?
Okay, DIAM Bouchage is a French company. It belongs to the Eneo group in France. Eneo is a group that basically is a supplier for the wine industry. So the main companies are Segamoro, supplying mostly barrels, Vivilis, who supplies oak alternatives and high-tech equipment for wineries, and DIAM Bouchage. DIAM Bouchage is specialized in technological corks for bottles of wines.
Okay.
So this company is based out of south of France, out of Perpignan area, exactly Céré, little village down there. We have factories in 3 countries, in France, Spain, and Portugal. That's where the corks are manufactured. It's about 500 employees today. We sell our products, I think the last count was in 83 countries, something like this.
I was going to ask you, where are your clients?
Yeah, all around the world. It's more than 80% export for DIAM production, which is kind of a lot of export for a French company. So we export 80% of the product. We produce around 2.4 billion corks per year.
Wow.
So I don't know if you have an idea, but there is around 18 billions of bottles of wine that are produced in the world every year. 18 billions. To this, you can add another 2.5 billions of sparkling wine.
Mm-hmm.
And so we produce around 2.5 billion corks today, and mainly on the higher end. So we're very present on the higher end all around the world, basically.
Okay. So it's the wine industry exclusively, or are there other alcohol using?
So, yeah, 3 products. You're right. It's not only the wine industry. Wine industry is of course the major part of what we do, but we are also leader in the beer industry. You know those large bottle of beer, 75 centiliters, that use a cork. So we're very strong on this, and spirits as well. The bar top corks, with fancy heads made of wood, plastic, or glass, or Zamac, whatever. We're also a major actor on this market.
And so you in North America, you take care of clients in North America only, or also South America? What is your...
So only North America. Yeah, my zone is only North America, Canada, US, and Mexico.
Okay, perfect. So you're traveling a lot when it's non-COVID period?
Yeah, normally it's a lot of traveling, but as everybody, we mainly stay at home nowadays.
So how did you adapt to this new COVID situation? Because with corks, I guess you have to meet your clients and to show them your products when you have new clients. So how did you adapt to this? I guess everybody has solutions and can do anything, but how specifically in your industry, how did you do that?
It's challenging. You're right. The normal life is to meet customers. That's the base of what we do. But today, no more. So we still do meetings on Zoom like everybody, and we try to keep the contact with our customers and of course talk to them as much as we can. But that's online. No more traveling.
Okay.
So the company has been actually very responsive to this COVID situation, because in our industry, if you stop production, then it's really problematic. So we managed not to stop production at all. Since this story started in March, we haven't stopped the factory one day. None of the 3 factories have stopped. And I have to thank all the people in the DIAM company for all they do on an everyday basis to keep the security, to keep the procedures alive, so we don't stop producing. That's key.
Yeah, and did you have delays or maybe problems to import the corks, or with, I don't know, the transportation was slower, or was it okay?
Funny enough, we didn't have any problems in March, April, May, even during the summer. It's really now that we see logistics issues.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like some harbors on the West Coast have been quite affected by COVID.
Yeah.
So unloading the containers and the boats become an issue. And we see today 3 to 4 weeks more delay to import goods into the US.
Okay, yeah, but that's for everybody, I guess. So
it is.
But hopefully, with the reopening of activities, and the vaccine, it's gonna get better. So maybe let's talk a little bit more about corks. I mean, if you name that really corks, but can you tell us more about a little bit the story? I mean, I guess people don't know if they're, how do you know if you have a good cork, or do you taste the wines with your clients, after a few months when you sell the corks? How does it work to manage the relationship also with your clients? What is the story about it? But I think it's very interesting as well. People don't know the technicality behind it, but
I agree, it's very interesting, but you cannot imagine the face of people when they ask me, so, hey, François, what's your job? What do you do? Oh, I sell corks. And then you see their face decomposing. No kidding, that stupid piece of bark. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And then I like telling the story, because then you can catch their attention, And I like to start by telling them, you don't even know why we're using a piece of cork to close a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
And that's the first, no, I don't know. Corks has been used for centuries to close a bottle of wine, but why? And the only reason why, it's because it's elastic. It's because it's an elastic material. And that, I think, is key. If you want to close a bottle of wine, you compress your cork, it rebounds into the bottle, it closes the bottle. Mm-hmm. And that started centuries ago, when basically people started to manufacture bottles. Before that, it was amphoras, closed with a piece of wood and cloth. As soon as people could manufacture a bottle with a regular neck, then you could start, punching a bark of a tree to produce a cork and put it in a bottle and close the bottle. So that's the beginning of the story, and that's only because it's elastic. And that material, so it comes from a tree. You have like 200 species of oak in the world. A couple of them are used to produce barrels or analogical oak. And one species is very special called Quercus suber, produces cork. So the cork is the bark. You have to wait 10 years until the bark is thick enough so you can harvest it and punch it so you get a piece of natural cork.
And so, for instance, DIAM, you have your own trees. How does it?
No, we don't. No, we don't. We buy today. We buy about 12 to 13% of all the cork in the world. So no, we don't own our own trees. We buy cork in the forest like anybody else.
Okay. How does that? How does that work? To how the chain behind the production? How is it? Yeah.
Yeah, the cork is grows mainly in Spain and Portugal. Spain and Portugal represent 85% of the cork in the world. It's funny that this tree, it's important that the cork is gonna grow at the right pace on the tree, so you get this elasticity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only around the Mediterranean Sea that you get those conditions, and that you can get cork for corking bottles. So that's very special. The whole cork in the world comes from around the Mediterranean, mostly Spain and Portugal. And so cork is made of the major ingredient is suberin. You also have waxes and woody part, lignins, but most of it is the suberin. And the suberin is the material that has this honeycomb structure, like a honeycomb. So when you compress it, it rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what gives cork the elasticity. But you realize when you punch a cork in a piece of bark, depending on where you punch, you're going to have a very different result. Some corks are going to have a lot of lignin. Some others are going to be very elastic. And basically, we discovered along the years that corks brings a lot of inconsistency. It's inconsistent in how elastic it is. So some corks are going to be elastic for 2 years, some others for 30 years. You don't know. It's inconsistent in the oxygen that goes through the cork. So some corks are going to allow a lot of oxygen into your bottle. So the wine evolution is going to be very quick. Some others are going to be very tight. So the evolution of the wine is going to be very, very slow. And so after a few years, you open several bottles of wines, and they have evolved differently. And that can be a problem. And of course, the third inconsistency is that bloody cork taint. and we discovered that this cork taint is mainly due to the anisole family of molecules. But in fact, there's a lot of molecules that can affect the sensory of wine. And this is completely random in cork. Depending on where you punch, you're going to have a cork taint or not. And so that cork is very inconsistent.
Okay.
And the success of DIAM is that we made it consistent.
And so how did you do that?
As simple as that. So we worked first with the Commissariat à l'Énergie Atomique in France.
Wow.
to adapt to cork and a very technical process. This process called supercritical CO2 was used to decaffeinate coffee. So take the caffeine out of coffee. And this, we adapted it to cork, and we patented it so we can remove from cork all the molecules responsible for taint.
Mm-hmm.
And we remove more than 150 molecules from cork material. So it's really, we can really make a disinfection of the cork bark. And DIAM was really the first to completely clean cork in 2003 when we started. And after that, when we get a cork, a clean cork, we granulate the cork first to keep only the suberin, because the woody parts of the corks are not interesting. They're not elastic, and so not interesting for what we do. We keep the suberin, we clean this suberin, and we reconstruct the cork. And that's where DIAM has another patent that makes really the big difference, is that in the molding process, we have ingredients, and one of the most important is the beeswax emulsion that we now use in our origin cork. Those ingredients allow us to get a really high consistency in the structure of DIAM, so we can guarantee the level of elasticity, the cleanliness of the cork, but also the level of oxygen that's going to go through every day. And over the years, we have developed a range of cork that are adapted either to quick rotation wines up to very long aging wines. And we give the winemaker choices in terms of how long do you want to age your wine and how much oxygen do you need into your wine.
I was about to, you anticipated my question. I was about to ask you. So there is different corks for different types of wines.
Yes, and that's really the revolution. Instead of putting a piece of cork in your bowl and hoping for the best, no, today the winemaker can choose. So the discussion we have with winemakers, that DIAM has with winemakers, is really different. Now we talk about the wine, we analyze together, we taste, and we try to figure out together what's going to be the best solution for their wine and what they want to do with their wines.
That's really impressive to know there's so much technology behind, a little cork.
Stupid piece of cork. Yes, you're right. Yeah, today it's really a choice, and DIAM has really changed that world of cork. And when you realize it's normal, I mean, cork is the only part of the packaging that's going to impact the quality of the product over the years.
That's one of the most important piece of, the part of the bottle is the cork is the most important thing. And so do you control with the winemaker over the years the wine and the corks, or how does it work? Or you sell them the cork and then you don't have a relationship with them, or do you have regular meetings with them after with the aging of the wine, or how does that work?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Usually the winemakers, our customers, they start with what they think is going to be the best option of DIAM. And then, of course, we taste the wines year after year. They look at how the wine evolves. Of course, each vintage is going to be different. And most of the time, our customers, they will choose different DIAMs for different cuvées, different wines. And now we even have people that are going to put different corks in the bowl for the same cuvée, depending on if they want to put the wines on the market early or if they want to keep the wine a long time in the cellar before selling. So we also have those cases. So yes, we talk a lot with our customers year after year, and we fine-tune their use of the product.
Wow, that's really impressive. So part of your work is also wine tasting.
Thank God. That's a great part of it.
Okay, and so in the US, do you how do you work? I mean, is it because I think there's different cultures around the world? Are there more pro corks or pro capsule? How do you? What is the proportion between do you have more clients in Europe for corks, less in the US, or is it even? How does that work?
So we have
the quality of the wine, of course, but
yeah, we have more than 10,000 customers around the world today. For the US itself, so the North American market is about I think 12 to 13,000 wineries now in the US. We work with more than 1,000 of them. DIAM is mainly used on the higher quality wines. Cork is not a cheap product. It's not a cheap raw material anyway. So most of our customers, and that's the customers that really are managing the aging of their wines. That's where we're good at. So we work with most of the higher end wineries, Napa, Sonoma, but all around the US and New York. New York State has also developed a very nice wine production. Texas, of course, Virginia, Oregon, Washington, and California are the main areas. Plus 2 areas in Canada, close to the Niagara Falls, and also close to Vancouver on the other side. And of course 1 main area in Mexico. Okay. But we work everywhere, with more than 1,000 customers in the US.
Yeah, it's because my question was because I remembered a few years ago we did a conference of corks versus capsule and who was choosing why and what and why, and it was interesting to see to understand more about that. Yeah. But it's very interesting, the story about cork. So since it's the last day of the week, François, and it's Friday, we always have a kind of a fun fact question or a different question because it's more not related to work. But since we're on LinkedIn, we'll maybe talk about management. But how did you work? I mean, again with COVID, but how did you work remotely with your teams in Europe and in France since you could not travel? And how did your team stay engaged? What did the management do to work around COVID and remote work?
Yeah, that's a great question. I wish we had a magic recipe to tell you, but in fact, what we've seen is that everybody reacts in a different manner to this situation. So I don't think there is any magic recipe. Basically, what we've tried to do all this period is to continue talking to people. So we've been continuing to talk to each other, and that's really what we've been doing. So my team here is mainly a sales team. We have more than 20 people selling DIAM in North America. So those are people that are used to work remotely first. All those guys, they're basically based at home with a home office. So those people are maybe a little more used to remote working. But the biggest problem I've seen is when you're not visiting customers and when you're a sales guy, it gives you the impression that you're not doing your job. And so I think it's been important to continue talking to each other, calling our customers, and keep the ambience up, because that's the main problem. We're not doing our job anymore, and the job is changing. So we need to convince everybody that we need to find another way to do it, and that we need to continue it. Basically, it's difficult.
Okay, and how did you, for instance, when you were saying you were doing a lot of wine tasting, can you still organize virtual wine tasting with your clients? How does that?
Yeah, some of them, but it's difficult. Yes, we still do some of it. It's difficult because the logistics is difficult. You need to send the wines to all the different participants, and so yes, we do some of that, but much less than before. By the way, we're organizing our yearly event, which is called Wine Conversations, at the end of March this year. And since we're doing it online, and part of it is a blind tasting from wines from all over the world, we have decided to send a wine kit to all of our customers around the US, and do a big blind tasting online. So that's a big experience.
Oh, and I was about to ask you about the conferences, and because usually, I've been to Unified, and I see all the booths of the companies and everything. How did you do this year? Did you participate to this conference online, and what was the result? Did you like it?
Yes, we did participate online. Not really for any result that we were expecting, but just because we just want to support the organization.
Of course.
Tell the organization we're here. We're not away. It's going to come back, and we'll be there. So we've been participating for this reason. No, the result was not very exciting. It was the first time. Nobody was very well trained on this, obviously.
But it's still a way to show that you're part of the industry, and that you can all come together at the same time, at the same moment. So.
Yeah, it's important to support ourselves, in this industry. Of course, we're suppliers, and most of our customers are wineries, but nevertheless, we're all from the same world, and it's really important to support each other in this period.
Yes. Well, I think it's a nice conclusion. Thank you very much, François. We're going to see you soon, because you'll also be a guest speaker of our wine summit that's going to take place on March 11. But so thank you very much. It was really super interesting to learn more about corks, and to know that there's so much. I'm really impressed by technology behind it. And I was a patent lawyer, so it really speak to when you talk about all these patents that you have and that you develop over the years. So, well, congratulations. Thank you very much again, François, and have a nice weekend.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, Laurence. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, François.